Hello guys, this is Tommy here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today guys, we're here for another video of TMCU, but anyway, yeah, so this is Phase 6, but anyway guys, without further ado, let's begin off this video, shall we? Now the first project in Phase 6 is titled Spider-Man The Sinister Six. Now in the project, we focus on Peter Parker on the run, and he is still devastated over Gwen Stacy's death. He is now living in Westchester under the new identity of Ben Reilly, and is shocked to hear on the news that Norman Osborn is threatening to declare war on all superhumans and aliens. Now meanwhile, supervillains Doc Ock, Hobgoblin, Scorpion, and Mysterio are broken out of Ravencroft by Norman in his attempts to form the Sinister Six to defeat Spider-Man before the group, along with Kraven, attack Peter in Westchester after Norman has successfully located him there. Because of this, Peter is severely injured after rescuing Flash Thompson, who doesn't bully him anymore, and forced back to New York City, where he's treated by nurse Claire Temple and visited by Daredevil, who had heard about the situation earlier with the Punisher and Jimmy Woo and is here to investigate it. Now, J. Jonah Jameson reports this on the news and accuses Spider-Man of being responsible due to him not recognizing Peter as Ben Reilly, which leads to an argument with Robbie Robertson, who does not support Norman, while Peter and his allies confront Tombstone for info of the attack, although he wasn't involved but knew of the attack all along. Then a fight ensues before Jefferson Davis and the NYPD arrive, which forces Tombstone, his daughter Janice Lincoln, and his men to escape. And while Peter's allies meet with Jefferson Davis and Karen Page to discuss more about the situation, Peter meets with the Illuminati and Doctor Strange as they explain that Norman and his son orchestrated the attack to lure Peter out of hiding, which leaves Peter shocked as he tells the group that he will kill Norman before he can kill all superheroes and aliens alike. However, though, after Peter leaves, Norman meets with director Marion James and agent William Rawlins as they prepare to kill Spider-Man once and for all. However, a few days later, Harry Osborn reveals to Kingpin, who's now gotten out of prison under Norman's orders since he was broken out by Harry. Harry reveals to Kingpin of his plan to kill his father and Spider-Man before Fisk beats Rawlins to death after learning that he was sent to Norman, who Fisk has a strong hatred towards, to infiltrate the Five Boroughs Crime Council as a spy. Now Peter is reunited with Aunt May, although the entire Sinister Six attack Peter, who is finally inspired by Daredevil to suit up as Spider-Man. However, though, they kill Aunt May, which leaves Peter devastated. Norman is about to make his announcement at the White House as Peter and his allies, which consists of Daredevil, the Punisher, Black Cat, the Lizard, Foggy Nelson, Karen Page, Jimmy Woo, Randy Robertson, and Jefferson Davis, all fight the Sinister Six and Norman's men to prevent him from wiping out all aliens, although Peter kills Kraven, Mysterio, and the Hobgoblin before curing Norman of the Green Goblin personality to avenge the death of Gwen Stacy and Aunt May. Now, in the end, Harry remains at Oscorp and betrays his father for more power, as Doc Ock and Scorpion are put back in Ravencroft, while Peter continues as Spider-Man, although after Norman has decided to spare his life, and he realizes that he lost the battle against the Sinister Six, and that the Illuminati was right, as it was always destined that Norman would unite all of humanity against all superheroes and superhumans and aliens, no matter what. Now Tom Holland, Marissa Tomei, J.K. Simmons, Natalia Dyer, Dacre Montgomery, David Ramsey, Randall Park, Keith David, Diggy Simmons, Rhys Ifans, John Bernthal, Charlie Cox, Elder Henson, Deborah Ann Wolfe, Benedict Cumberbatch all return their respective roles, while Sydney Sweeney plays Felicia Hardy, also known as the Black Cat. Gina Torres appears as Claire Temple in a cameo, while the entire Illuminati return in their respective roles as well. We got Asa Butterfield playing Harry, Alfred Molina as Dr. Aldo Octavius, Jason Momoa, Jacob Batalon, and Michael Mando all return their villainous roles as Kraven, Hobgoblin, and Scorpion. Jake Gyllenhaal plays Mysterio, Bob Odenkirk plays President Norman Osborn, Marvin Jones III, also known as Crawdon, plays Tombstone, Isa Gonzalez plays Janice Lincoln, who's Tombstone's daughter, obviously, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio plays CIA Director Marion James, Paul Schultz plays CIA agent William Rawlins, and Vincent D'Onofrio returns as Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. Now, in the mid-credit scene, Tony Stark is visited by Reed Richards at the Illuminati headquarters in New York City as he is given a new suit which he labels to be the superior Iron Man. Now, Peter is at dinner with Jefferson Davis as he is then introduced to Davis's son named Miles Morales, who is a big fan of Spider-Man. So Aunt May, Kraven, Mysterio, Hobgoblin, and William Rollins all die in this film. Now the second project in Phase 6 is titled Wonder Man. Here is the suit of what Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man, looks like in this TV show. So this show consists of 10 episodes, and we are introduced to Sanford Williams, a businessman who is the founder and CEO of Williams Innovations and a rival of Howard Stark and his family, although everything changes when he goes out gambling one night, and he and Martha are both killed by an unknown hitman, which leaves the two sons as orphans. Now in the present day, Simon Williams is now an actor in Hollywood and the new CEO of Williams Innovations as he's very successful and even has his own lawyer and Jennifer Walters, an agent named Neil Soroyan, and while filming for a new film of his, he meets scriptwriter Alex Flores, and they start a romantic relationship. Now, meanwhile, Simon's brother Eric Williams is now known as a supervillain called the Grim Reaper, and is also working as a bodyguard in the Magia crime organization. Now in episode 2, Simon continues with his daily and successful life as always, although the company loses all of its profits due to his acting career and seeks out his brother for help, only to learn that he's a part of the Magia, which is now located in both the US and Italy, who seek to spread their criminal and political influence worldwide. However, he is instead greeted by Baron Zemo and the Enchantress, who has just arrived to Earth after the events of Infinity Watch. The two give Simon ionic powers, which turn Simon into the superhero known as Wonder Man, and he's forced to give up as an actor. Now it is revealed that Zemo and the Grim Reaper are reforming the Masters of Evil, which consists of the Enchantress, Atlas, Moonstone, and Radioactive Man, as they plan to reform the US in their own image and eliminate all superhumans for good. Now in this episode, Simon asks She-Hulk for advice after getting his powers, although she tells Simon it isn't a big deal and that he should also figure out how to control his powers before Simon is left in devastation with him no longer being an actor and starts to get suspicious of his brother Eric before Wanda and White Vision arrive and request Simon to join the West Coast Avengers, although he refuses and instead dedicates his life to protecting Hollywood in order to become an actor again, while Wanda and White Vision, who are not dating anymore, stay in Hollywood to monitor Simon. Simon, Wonder Man, and White Vision attack the Master of Evil team, although the fighting stops, and Simon is shocked to learn that Eric is also a part of the team. However, though, he fails to convince him that he's a good guy. Meanwhile, there's a circus performance in Los Angeles where the Ringmaster and Princess Python, who are both members of the Circus of Crime, are performing as Wanda and Quicksilver show up, which leads to the Ringmaster trying to recruit them and hypnotize them to do so, although fight ensues between King Cobra and Diamondback, who are also members of the Circus of Crime. However, they are forced to escape as Quicksilver then leaves to meet with the X-Men. So in Italy, the Magia continue business as usual until they are visited by the Grim Reaper and his crew, as it is then revealed that the people in charge of the Magia are the Manfredi family, who consist of Silvermane, aka Silvio Manfredi, and his son Joseph. Back in Los Angeles, Wonder Man wakes up after sleeping with Wanda, and his newest goal is to eventually join the Avengers, although he can also join the West Coast Avengers if he wants to, although Simon says that he isn't sure yet. Now, while the Circus of Crime are in hiding and try to report Wanda to the police, they refuse to listen, while the Magia are secretly hiding in Hollywood along with Tombstone and his daughter Janice after their confrontation with Spider-Man and his allies in Spider-Man the Sinister Six. Now, it turns out the Magia are planning on building a dangerous and powerful robot known as Dreadnought. However, the Tombstone is not actually an independent crime boss, and it is revealed that he is working for a very powerful person, who we don't know of yet. So Simon, Wanda, and White Vision are now living together with Wanda now moving on from Vision's death and accepting life with her twins, who are now living in Los Angeles, while the Italy faction and the Magia continue working with the Masters of Evil, and they are revealed to be very powerful, and also adapting the ideology of traditionalism. Now, throughout the rest of the episode, Simon works with his allies to take down the Grim Reaper, although he dies in the end, with Wanda having a mental breakdown as she uses the robot Dreadnought to try to resurrect him. So after Wonder Man's death, Wanda's very mad about this, and try to resurrect Simon, although she's defeated. The Grim Reaper and his team kidnap White Vision, take his body while trying to convince the latter to transfer his consciousness into Wonder Man's body in order to look more human, although he refuses. The Italy faction of the Maggia arrive in Hollywood, which is now the new and permanent headquarters of the Maggia. They prepare to complete their master plan, launching massive cyber attacks on the world governments in order to spread their influence and prevent the world from knowing about their existence. White Vision is able to escape with the body after a rough fight with the Maggia, and she works with Wanda to destroy Dreadnought and resurrect Wonder Man. So Wonder Man is resurrected and is surrounded by his allies following his resurrection. Tombstone meets with the Manfredi family, and we are introduced to Whitney Frost, aka Madame Mask, who was the daughter of Byron and Loretta Frost, former high-ranking members of the Maggia, until they passed away after being killed. However, the Maggia get help from the Grim Reaper and the Masters of Evil with the technology needed to start the massive cyber attack. Wonder Man and his allies realize that the only way to truly defeat the Maggia is with the Grim Reaper's help. However, though, Ralph Boner is actually a clone of Quicksilver that was created by the X-Men. Tombstone is actually working with Count Nefaria, who orchestrated the death of Simon's parents. Now Simon becomes an actor again, as he is supported by his allies and Wanda, who is now his girlfriend. He takes a break from being a superhero and focuses more on acting. However, 5 months later, as he presents his new film in Hollywood, he is attacked by his brother, who is of course the Grim Reaper, named Eric Williams. Now this episode is very exciting, and Simon of course is very mad about the attack and asks his brother to leave or else he will make him. However, Simon refuses, and along with the Masters and the Maggia, he attacks Simon and his allies, while also Billy, Tommy, and Agent Laura Barton, now known as the Mockingbird, appears in this film. Now the huge fight breaks out as the Grim Reaper and Zemo kill Neil Sororian, and also Count Nefaria gets involved along with his men, and it is revealed that he's actually half vampire and has the same powers as Wonder Man. However, it made him worse, very similar to the Super Soldier Serum when it comes to the Red Skull in TMCU, obviously, as he assists his men in the fight while Simon tries to convince Eric to help him take down the Masters, but he refuses. Simon is forced to kill Eric to protect Wanda and his allies, and in the end, the Maggia and the Masters are defeated, and Count Nefaria is killed by Wanda and White Vision, as Simon is now able to learn how to balance life as a superhero and an actor, and reconciles with Alex Flores, as they remain good friends as also Simon and his allies are also able to convince the US government to hunt down the remaining members of the Maggia, as Whitney Frost, Silvermane, and Joseph Manfredi are killed, while Tombstone, Janice, and Hammerhead return to New York City with some help from Fisk, who makes a cameo at the very end. So this right here is the full cast, and of course it is obviously very, very exciting. Now if you guys don't see over here, yeah, there it is. Now in the mid-credit scene, after Wonder Man tells Wanda and White Vision that he's ready to join the West Coast Avengers, he learns that Justin Hammer and the Department of Damage Control, an organization that cleans up after superhero battles and also strongly condemns superhuman activities, have discovered remnants of Ultron's body in Sokovia. Now in the post-credit scene, it is revealed that the Enchantress went to Earth to start a new life for herself and move on from the Infinity Stones. However, Uatu the Watcher keeps the Power Stone on New Asgard in order to potentially find the Enchantress. So this is the list of every character who dies in the film. Now the third project, which is a movie, obviously is titled Fantastic Four: The Devourer. So in the movie, after successfully finding Planet Tron for Galactus to devour, the Silver Surfer is assigned by Galactus to meet with Terex the Tamer and go to Earth with him, as Ego, the living planet, watches and listens to the entire conversation. Meanwhile, on Earth, Reed Richards returns home from work and talks to Sue, John, Ben, Alicia, Herbie, Franklin, Valeria, tells them that he is temporarily retiring from the Illuminati in order to spend more time with the family, as everyone's happy about this before they eat a lot of pizza. The crew are at a cafe in New York City until they are attacked by the Silver Surfer, who is a very powerful alien from the planet Zenla, who eventually became a herald of Galactus, after begging the latter for survival. This leads the public in shock as the Fantastic Four, along with Herbie, obviously, head to space as they are now fugitives, while Alicia Masters babysits Franklin and Valeria on Earth, who are visited by local mailman Willie Lumpkin. Silver Surfer and Terrax are captured by Hammer and the United Nations under Norman Osborn's orders and experimented on to detect their extraterrestrial heritage, although Norman arrives along with Mary and James as they spare the two to try and use them as potential henchmen for the Thunderbolts team. Herbie and the Fantastic Four run into Uatu the Watcher, who reveals the existence of Galactus the Devourer and his use of the power cosmic, the energy he uses to eat planets, as he was born Galan and is also a Celestial from the planet Ta, until the Celestials betrayed him after he spared a planet as they consumed all of his energy, which now forces him to eat planets in the universe in order to survive, and they work together to find the ultimate nullifier, an extremely powerful weapon on Galactus' home planet to use against him in case he tries to destroy the Celestials, which will lead to the end of the universe. While Norman is in Russia with the Silver Surfer, Terex the Tamer, and Mary and James, Shalabao, who is the Silver Surfer's husband, meets with Galactus on Zenla to find the Silver Surfer, although they run in... Sorry about that. While Norman is in Russia with the Silver Surfer, Terex, and Mary and James, Shalabao meets with Galactus on a mission to find the Silver Surfer, although they run into Ego, who fights the two and accidentally sends a power cosmic to Earth, which now leaves Galactus powerless. As a result of this, Norman realizes that Terex is too powerful and orders his men to kill him by using the power cosmic, which the Silver Surfer uses to escape, and reunites with his allies. Quasar joins the Fantastic Four and their allies to find the ultimate nullifier to prevent Galactus from consuming Earth until they are attacked by Ego. In the final battle, the Fantastic Four are assisted by Uatu, Quasar, Herbie, Alicia Masters, Franklin, and Valeria as they fight Galactus, the Silver Surfer, and Shalabao on Zenla, although the Silver Surfer betrays Galactus after realizing that he will eat Earth and help the Fantastic Four and their allies to get to Earth, while Galactus now has the power cosmic again after stealing it from the Silver Surfer before he destroys Zenla, which kills Shalabao and all the Silver Surfer's people. The entire group confront Ego on Earth to prevent him from absorbing the planet into him, as Reed uses the ultimate nullifier to destroy Ego once and for all, which kills him, although it turns out he's actually alive and rescued by Tony and Wong while the group mourn his death. Now this is the full cast of the film, by the way. Now, in an alternate dimension known as the Negative Zone, an unnamed extraterrestrial senses Franklin Richards' power and seeks to use it to enter the Milky Way galaxy. Now, in the post-credit scene, Uatu the Watcher watches over New Asgard on Earth as Norman Osborn and his forces arrive there for a potential invasion. So Terex the Tamer, Shalabao, and Ego all die in this film. So the fourth project is titled The Illuminati. Now, by the way, guys, here's a quick overview of the show and what the Illuminati headquarters looks like in TMCU. In Episode 1, after his injury, Reed Richards is brought to the Illuminati headquarters in New York City by his fellow teammates, as he is shocked to learn that Norman Osborn and his newly formed law enforcement agency, known as Hammer, are rounding up and killing superhumans and aliens worldwide as they plan to attack the Hammer headquarters in Broxton, Oklahoma. Meanwhile, Moonstone joins the Thunderbolts as Norman, quote-unquote, educates Sentry on how to use his powers for good, although he's very skeptical about this before Norman learns that Broxton is under attack, as he sends the Thunderbolts to investigate until they are attacked by the Illuminati and the Inhumans, and a confrontation ensues until many of the Hammer agents are killed as Sentry and the Thunderbolts leave after learning from Norman that Lindy Reynolds, who is Sentry's wife, has died. Now Wong is taking care of Reed and trying to help him recover until Doctor Strange arrives and tells Wong that he will help defeat Norman. Now in Episode 2, Namor has a nightmare about his days during World War II after arriving on the surface world in 1942 along with his allies, as we see him working with Bucky, Jim Hammond, and many other allied soldiers as they struggle to defeat the Axis powers. Now in the present day, Strange, Wong, and Reed are reunited with their teammates and the Inhumans, who reveal that Norman has already declared war on all the Inhumans, and also he is coming after them in less than 24 hours, while they request help from Nick Fury's crew to save all the other Inhumans, with the Illuminati now plan on going to the moon and bringing the Inhumans to Earth, with Norman now wanting to destroy the moon to prevent the Inhumans from getting to Earth. So lastly, in the end, everyone worked together as they head to the moon, although it was a trap that was set up by Norman Osborn, who believes that all of them have died and announces to the UN that he will lay siege on New Asgard. Now in episode 3, Bucky is now a fugitive from Norman Osborn after betraying him in the events of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, as he's chased down by the team, although Shuri saves and brings him to Wakanda after a brutal fight while Captain Marvel and Photon try to recruit Kamala into the Avengers, although her parents and older brother don't let her in order to keep her safe, which leaves the two of them shocked before they meet with Sam, Joaquin, Bruce, Jennifer, Shang-Chi, Shuri, and Bucky as they reform the Avengers to discuss their plan to defeat Norman Osborn and rescue the Inhumans from Norman. As they all discuss their plan with the latter, they run into Maximus, who is protecting a small community of Inhumans at a hideout camp in Kansas, although refuses to help him even when he begs for it. The group on the moon learn that Maximus abandoned them after a nuke threat from Norman Osborn. Plus, Black Bolt and Medusa stay on the moon before Wong portals everybody back to Earth after finding his sling ring, while Thor and Love arrive on New Asgard for a visit and reunite with everyone there. So this episode, as every other episode, is pretty long, so pause to read if you guys want to watch this episode, or just read it. So in episode 5, Maximus is mad that Doctor Strange left him and his group. Behind us, Maximus watches Norman and his men executing them, which leaves the former very angry as he vows revenge on Norman and realizes that he's one last chance to conquer Earth with him, having the Inhumans replacing all of the humans. Now Reed explains his vision to Tony, Wong, Charles, and Namor, along with Nick Fury's crew and all their allies, as they successfully convince Black Bolt and Medusa to return to Earth along with the rest of the Inhumans before they establish a new nation on Earth known as Adelon instead of living on the moon like they used to. It's very sad for them, although Strange and the rest of the Avengers explain to Thor and everyone in New Asgard that Norman Osborn will invade in 24 hours, as they all have to get prepared. Now after that shocking ending in episode 5, where Uatu revealed to the Fantastic Four that Reed is still alive, basically everyone is split into 3 different groups, whereas there's an attempted coup d'etat on Norman Osborn, also a conflict in Russia, and also in New Asgard, where Norman currently is. Basically, of course, this is what happens in the entire episode, so yeah. Now there, of course, is a huge cast in this project, so yeah. Now, if you guys can join my Discord if you want, for the full cast, since obviously you guys, unfortunately, can't really read it over here, so yeah. So, in the mid-credit scene, after the Thunderbolts disband, John Walker moves to Hollywood and realizes that he needs to be and act like a superhero before being hesitantly recruited by White Vision to join the West Coast Avengers. Now, in the post-credit scene, due to the Hulk's aggressiveness on New Asgard, the Illuminati decided to banish him to Sakaar, as they now see him as a threat to Earth. So, a few Hammer agents, Sentry's wife, a few S.H.I.E.L.D. agents as well, Maximus the Mad, all die in this project. Now, the 5th project is titled Moon Knight. So, yeah. Now, this is a quick overview of what the main plot of the show is like. So, yeah. So, episode 1 starts off with Mark Spector's origin story. However, his entire life changed when his younger brother Randall was killed after drowning in a cave. In the present day, Stephen Grant, an alternate personality of Mark Spector, is living in London, England as a shopkeeper, although he ends up waking up in a small village in Austria while hearing a mysterious voice in his head who tries to manipulate him into meeting with Arthur Harrow, in which he does, although learns that it was a trap in order to get an unknown scarab from him before waking up, and he is very confused about what just happened. The next day, Steve Grant returns to work as he is confronted by Harrow and his men as he tries to escape, although he's chased down by Harrow's men and has visions of his reflection and transforms into Moon Knight before killing a jackal that was summoned by Harrow. So after the attack at the shop, Stephen Grant is fired from his job, but when he tries to blame on Harrow and his men, he realizes that they have left. Now Mark Spector is living in New York City with his best friend, Jean-Paul Duchamp, aka Frenchie, and love interest of his, Layla. He also has informants in Bertrand Crawley and Gina Landers following the death of his parents, as he contacts Stephen Grant and reveals to him that he's a Jewish mercenary who once worked with Frenchie to defeat their former ally, Royal Bushman, after leaving the CIA, although he was left to die on his own and saved by Khonshu, who's also known as the god of the moon, obviously, and became his avatar before possessing the body of his third personality, Jake Lockley, a taxi driver who lives in New York City along with Mark and his allies. Stephen Grant is arrested by Harrow and his men, as the latter explains that he was once Khonshu's avatar until he decides to join Amit, who wants to use the scarab to release her after she was banished by the Innate Council of Gods for judging and killing people who commit or will commit evil acts in the future. Grant is rescued by Layla, with the former becoming Mr. Knight, as he struggles to adapt to dealing with Khonshu, although he transforms into Moon Knight and ends up going missing along with Mark, Jake, Layla, and Khonshu. So in episode 3, Harrow and his men arrive in Egypt, and now plan on resurrecting Ammit while we learn more about Khonshu's past, as he was once a member of the Innate Council of Gods until he's banished for interacting with humanity, which the Council does not like and does not do. The latter calls a meeting with all the Council members and warns them of Hera's plans, although the latter manipulates all of them and explains he needs a sarcophagus to find Ammit's tomb in order to release her once and for all. Mark and Layla meet with Anton Mogar, aka the Midnight Man, who owns the sarcophagus, and he works with his son Jeffrey Wilde, Arthur Harrow, and is meant to protect the sarcophagus from anyone that is seen as a threat before Khonshu instigates a fight over it, but Harrow steals it and Khonshu turns back the night sky with help from Mark and his personalities. However, though, after Khonshu's imprisonment by the Council and Mogart's death, Mark regains control of his alternate personalities and doesn't have his powers anymore before learning from Layla that Harrow and Mogart were involved in the death of her father, named Abdallah. I can't pronounce his last name, but whatever. So in the flashback, Layla's father and Peter Al-Rani are killed by a group of mercenaries after finding a sarcophagus in Egypt, mainly Royal Bushmen. In the present day, Mark introduces Layla to Greer Nelson, aka Tigra, Mark's ex-girlfriend who was born in Chicago, Illinois, as she grew up with Mark and also hunted Midnight Man in the past. The trio decide to work together to release Khonshu and find Ammit's tomb. However, things go wrong when Hera and his men arrive as they kill Mark, which leaves Layla and Greer devastated until Frenchie arrives after searching for Mark and promises to help out. Meanwhile, Mark is now dead and is at a mental asylum where he is reunited with Stephen and Jake in separate bodies before being greeted by Tawet, who is the goddess of fertility and also in the Egyptian afterlife called the Duat. And now imprisoned, Khonshu overhears a conversation that is currently happening between the council and learns that Mark, Stephen, and Jake are in the Egyptian afterlife. So this episode mainly focuses on Tawet journeying the trio into the afterlife, as by the end of the episode, Tawet successfully convinces Layla to become her first avatar, and basically, of course, Stephen, Mark, and Jake are separated for all of eternity. Well, kind of. Now this episode is quite intense, so I will give you guys a few minutes to read it. Okay, earlier I did not mean to say a few minutes, I meant like a few seconds, but whatever. So anyway guys, here's the full cast from Moon Knight Season 1. Also guys, the villains might look a little blurry, but it's alright though. You guys can still check out my Discord if you guys want to, so yeah. So in the mid-credits scene, the final battle in Cairo has gone viral in the news worldwide, which leads to Tigra being invited by Wonder Man to join the West Coast Avengers. Now in the post-credits scene, it is revealed that Mark's brother Randall Spector is still alive and is a member of a secret cult in Egypt known as the Cult of Khonshu. Now, I will give you a few seconds to read this, but this is the list of deaths in Moon Knight Season 1. Chapter 6 is titled Armor Wars. Now, in Armor Wars, it has been 2 years since the events of Avengers Secret Invasion, and we see Rhodey as he's trying to adjust to this new world before meeting with Pepper Pot, who is the CEO of Stark Industries, and basically, she tells Rhodey that Tony's tech is being stolen by unknown forces. So basically, of course, Rhodes works with the West Coast Avengers all throughout the film, and also a lot of other people. Now, Justin Hammer is also working with Samuel Stearns and Tyler Hayward, the Tinkerer, basically all these people to create a villainous, and also is also participating in Project Firepower, which is a top-secret project created by the U.S. government in order to create a villainous Iron Man, to kill Tony Stark and James Rhodes once and for all. Basically, the West Coast Avengers team gets some clues on who could be stealing Tony's tech as they learn about the mysterious Spy Master before they are attacked by the 10 Rings, and it is then revealed that both situations are connected. It turns out that Justin Hammer is the Spy Master and kidnaps Stark Industries head of security, Bethany Cabe, and he reveals his master plan to use Ultron 2, Tyler Hayward, and Stern in order to steal Tony's tech and eliminate him once and for all. Now, basically, in the final battle, the CIA enlists to help the Punisher to help out in Project Firepower, although he refuses and instead reveals this is the West Coast Avengers, which leaves all of them shocked. Before the final battle, Hammer and his men investigate the situation and basically Matthew Ellis for information, although he lies saying he doesn't know, so he ends up getting killed. So Hammer suits up as the Titanium Man, and Tony and his allies help the West Coast Avengers rescue Bethany Cabe, which leads to a massive fight in Washington, D.C., as they all team up with their allies such as Hope, Scott, Tony, Fury, Maria Hill, Falsworth, and Ironheart against Justin Hammer, Ultron 2, Joe Costa, Stern, the Tinkerer, Tyler Hayward, Department of Damage Control, and Firepower, while the Ten Rings get in the middle of the conflict, although Shang-Chi tries to convince them to stop, although they do escape, thankfully. Now, Rhodey leaves the West Coast Avengers team and becomes the 50th president of the U.S., although promises to help Earth out whenever need be, as the Punisher becomes the next War Machine and becomes the new War Machine, convinces and continues his daily routine while the heroes celebrate their victory with the Stark Tech back in their possession. Now, anyway, guys, sorry if this is very, very blurry, but here is the full cast for Armor Wars. So yeah, I don't know if you guys can read it, but oh well. Now, in the mid-credits scene, Shang-Chi's sister, Shu Xialing, announces to the Ten Rings that Shang-Chi is a traitor for helping Iron Man, which everyone agrees with. Now, in the post-credits scene, the Department of Damage Control have decided to step up as a successor to the S.H.I.E.L.D., and they now enforce all superhuman activities worldwide. Now, anyway, guys, this is the full list of deaths in Armor Wars. Now, Chapter 7 is titled Avengers Behold Galactus. So in the movie, the Watcher and the Infinity Watch arrive on Earth as they warn everyone about Galactus and the Celestials, while Adam Warlock has visions of his future self, Magus. So basically, of course, the Celestials recreate the universe and remake Adam Warlock into the evil tyrant known as Magus in this alternate future. So Spider-Man, Thor, Hope, Scott, Bucky, and the Sentry all join the Avengers as allies. However, with these new heroes joining the Avengers, it now seems like other heroes are getting involved as well. So basically, the Illuminati and Fantastic Four already knew about Galactus and have secretly been preparing for his arrival to Earth. Now, meanwhile, Arishem and the Celestials still have the Eternals held hostage, although not for too long, as the Infinity Watch plan on releasing them before Nick Fury and his crew join forces with the Inhumans and Guardians as they try to investigate and connect all these cosmic mysteries. Thor tries to get help of the people of New Asgard, although they are not convinced enough to believe what Thor is saying, until Uatu arrives and explains everything to them before Strange and the rest of the team leave to request help from Wong and Brother Voodoo. Spider-Man and Iron Man enlist help from Daredevil, the Punisher, and Ironheart, while the Watcher unites the Fantastic Four and Infinity Watch in hopes of potentially defeating both Galactus and the Celestials, before Thor finds the Power Stone, which leaves him in shock as he then encases it within an orb to use against Galactus. The Eternals are liberated from Arishem and the Celestials, thankfully, although Gilgamesh and Sprite are both killed by them, as our heroes all work together to defeat the bad guys, although it all ends on the cliffhanger when the Fantastic Four, the Illuminati, Inhumans, and Nick Fury's crew end up in the negative zone, while the rest of the heroes end up all alone and scattered on Earth. So basically, this is a very, very large cast, the most cast yet in all of TMCU history. So yeah, guys, I don't know if you can read it, but oh well. So yeah. Now also, guys, here's the list of side characters and villains in this project, and yeah. So in the mid-credit scene, Uatu and the Infinity Watch are now hiding on Sandar from the bad guys, as Adam Warlock now has all of the Infinity Stones within a new Infinity Gauntlet that was made by him. Now in the post-credit scene, on Earth, Carol and Monica try to contact Kamala Khan, although she doesn't answer, which suggests that she is most likely in some sort of danger. So yeah. Now anyway, guys, Gilgamesh inspired the only characters to die in this project, so yeah. Now, the 8th project in Phase 6 is a TV show titled Miss Marvel. Obviously, it's a TV show because it says Season 1, but whatever. So, by the way, guys, this is an overview of what the show is going to look like, so yeah. So, after the events of Inhumans Mystery of the Quantum Bands, Kamala Khan is now living peacefully with her family in Jersey City, although Kamala wants to go to Avengers Con, a fair that celebrates the Avengers, their history, and their achievements, with her best friends Bruno and Nakia, but her strict parents won't let her go, so she sneaks out and brings her bangle there, before causing a scene as she loses control of her powers and is forced to save her classmate, a popular girl named Zoe Zimmer, as she also escapes with the trio. So in episode 2, Kamala and her family are shocked about what happened at AvengerCon, and as Kamala arrives home with her friends, she is yelled at by her mother Muniba and is grounded for 4 months. While drawn in her room, Kamala has a vision of Eon, who is the creator of the Quantum Mans, obviously, as revealed in Inhumans Mystery, the Quantum Mans, as she learns from the latter that after he hid the other bangle on Earth, a group of extraterrestrials known as the Jinn race that hail from the Nord dimension were exiled from their homeworld and found the second bangle until the Kree arrived and stole from them against their own will. Kamala is shocked about this, while Bruno, Nakia, and Zoe are questioned by the Department of Damage Control for info about what happened at Avenger Con, which inspires them to begin hunting down Kamala. So in episode 3, we learn about British India in 1942, where Kamala's great-grandmother Ayesha meets a young activist named Hassan, who is an activist for Indian independence in a small village, as they fall in love and give birth to Kamala's grandmother named Sana. Now 5 years later, a jinn named Najma kills Ayesha after she tried to flee India to go to Pakistan with her family. Now in the present day, Kamala and her family are attacked by Damage Control, although a group of jinns known as the Clandestines rescue the family before escaping. Najma explains to the family that Ayesha was also from the Nord dimension and was also banished, which explains why she tried to move to Pakistan, and Kamala and her entire genes have Jinn heritage with their genetics, but also Kamala is suspicious of Najma, as it turns out that all she wants is to return to the Nord dimension along with her people by using the Kamala's bangle, although Bruno warns it could be very dangerous. Now Kamala's brother Amir marries his fiancée Taisha, and Kamal and all of the main characters, attend the wedding, although Najma, who realizes that Kamal does not trust her, interrupts the wedding along with the Clandestines before Damage Control arrive and capture Kamran and the Clandestines, as Kamala, her family, and friends are able to escape just in time. Kamala and her family go to Karachi, Pakistan in episode 4 and reunite with Sana, who reveals that the vision of Kamala wasn't just a coincidence. Now, basically, of course, there's a message by Eon to prevent Najma and her people from climbing their homeworld into Earth, as they eventually plan to take over. Now, Kamala is confronted by the Red Dagger's vigilante group after she was mistaken for a clandestine, as the group explained to Kamala that after Najma and the clandestines were banished from their homeworld, they killed Ayesha as she wanted to live a normal life in Pakistan. The DODC torture the clandestines, although they are able to escape, only for Kamran to be abandoned by his mother, Najma, for her betrayal. However, the group arrive and fight Kamala and the Red Daggers. However, during the conflict, Walid, Fariha, Adam, and Salim, who are members of the clandestines, are killed as Kamala sent back in time after a brief fight with Najma. So Kamala arrives in 1947 during the partition of India, as she's able to find Sana and returns her back to her father Hassan. As they stay in Pakistan, it turns out that all these events started in 1947 are an endless time loop due to Kamala's time travel, as explained in a vision by Eon. In the present day, Kamala is reunited with her family, as they reveal to her that Najma has already opened a portal to the Nord dimension as a part of her master plan, although Kamala is able to stop her just in time before Najma gives her powers to Kamran and is then killed. The family return to New York City after thanking Sana for their help, while Kamran meets Bruno, as the two of them are then attacked by Damage Control. So in episode 6, Kamala confesses to being Miss Marvel, although her family already knew about this before she's on high alert of the situation with Kamran and Bruno, who have just ended up in Department of Damage Control Supermax prison after being told of this by Nakia. Kareem stays in Pakistan to protect Sana, while Kamala joins forces with her brother Amir and friends Naki and Zoe in order to release Kamran and Bruno from the Supermax, although it all goes wrong when the agents somehow overpower Kamala and her allies with what they call to be weapons of mass destruction. Now in episode 7, Kamala and her allies go on the run from Damage Control after rescuing Kamran and Bruno, although it's very tough for the group to get over this situation as they struggle to live with normal lives. Amran returns home with his wife Taisha, as they warn the parents about this, which makes them very concerned about Kamala and her friends, especially when it comes to their safety. The Damage Control ordered Jersey City for a citywide lockdown when no one can leave or enter, although Kamala gets the attention of Damage Control after saving a little boy who's almost killed by them during their search for Kamala and her allies. So Kamala joins forces with Bruno, Nakia, Zoe, and Kamran in order to defeat Damage Control and get them out of Jersey City, although Amir arrives after Muniba, Yusuf, and Taisha were arrested by the organization as they storm into Kamala's high school, which leads to a conflict. Everyone besides Kamala and Kamran are arrested as the duo work together to get Damage Control out of Jersey City and release all the hostages, although the Damage Control's weapons are too powerful for Kamala to handle, so Kamran gives Kamala his mother's powers, which kills him, but thankfully Kamala takes advantage of this and uses it to defeat damage control. And by the end of the season, Kamal becomes a very powerful and popular superhero due to her actions, and her family is very proud of her as she decides to get some ice cream with her friends, although Kamal still has her bangle, and Eon congratulates her for all the things that she has achieved thus far. So this is the full cast for Ms. Marvel Season 1, by the way, so yeah. Now in the mid-credit scene, after celebrating with her friends, Kamal picks up the call from Carol and Monica as she decides to help them out. So in the post-credit scene, believing Nick Fury Jr. to be dead, Hulkling realizes they must form the Young Avengers. So Aisha, Hassan, Waleed, Najma, Fariha, Adam, Salim, and Kamran all die. So the penultimate chapter in Phase 6 is titled Blade. So we start off in the 1990s after Blade's mother is abandoned by her husband Lucas as she gives birth to her son Eric Brooks and is mysteriously killed after turning into a vampire. In the present day, Eric Brooks, now the vampire hunter known only as Blade, and also Daywalker, is hunting vampires in London as he runs into Dane Whitman after discovering an ancient and inherited weapon called the Ebony Blade, and he turns the latter into the Black Knight. Now meanwhile, Deacon Frost is also a vampire and wants to turn all humans into vampires and rule as the Lord of Vampires, and is also working with the evil Dracula in order to inherit the title from him someday. We're also having their own alliance and vampire armies. Blade discovers his old mentor Jamal Afari, who used to be a legendary vampire hunter until he gave up to raise Blade after finding him on the streets as a baby, although now it seems like Blade has memory loss, although he decides to let Jamal train him even more. We are also introduced to Frank Drake, a vampire hunter who is a direct descendant of Dracula, although he tries to commit as he is ashamed of his heritage before being saved by a group of vampires led by Abraham Van Helsing, which consists of his granddaughter Rachel, Hannibal King, Quincy Harker, and Taj Natal, and the latter joined Abraham's group. Blade works with Jamal and Dane in order to gain his memories back, as Jamal explains to them that after his mother's death, he was abandoned by a doctor named Deacon Frost, who turned his mom into a vampire, which led to her death, and he also faced off against Dracula in the past. Now they meet with Blade's girlfriend named Saffron Calder, although she is killed when the Department of Occult Armaments, simply known as the DOA, arrive, along with Deacon's men, before Jamal is also killed during the conflict. So basically, of course, they all work together to defeat Dracula and Deacon, who want to turn the world into vampires and prevent them from doing so. However, after interrogation from Inspector named George Chelm, the big fight begins as the villains are more powerful than ever, which leads to Hannibal King, who has been a vampire all along. He's killed during the conflict, and so is Deacon. In the end, the remaining heroes successfully defeat the villains as I cannot read that, but whatever. So yeah, the remaining heroes successfully defeat the villains as Blade. Blade, Rachel, and Frank. As Blade thanks Rachel and Frank for their help, while Dane Whitman leaves to find his girl and to find his girlfriend Cersei after hearing that she had gone missing. Blade raises the hostage Brielle as his adoptive daughter after releasing her from captivity, as they hunt down and kill a cult of vampires together. So anyway guys, I apologize for messing up earlier, although here's the full cast for the Blade movie. Now in the mid-credit scene, it is revealed that Dracula is still alive and is working with the evil Lilith, also known as the mother of all demons, as they vow revenge on Blade and his allies. Now in the post-credit scene, after watching the news and hearing about Norman Osborn being defeated in New Asgard, Blade becomes jealous as he realizes that he should form his own superhero team as well. So these are all the characters who die in the film. So Chapter 10 and the final chapter overall is titled, of Phase 6, and the entire cosmic saga is titled Avengers Annihilation. So we leave off after that shocking cliffhanger in Avengers Behold Galactus, where The Fantastic Four and their allies, the Illuminati, Inhumans, and Nick Fury's crew are now in a dimension known as the Negative Zone, ruled by Annihilation, as we learn from the Watcher that the universe is split into 6 different sections, which is the Positive Zone, which is, of course, the main part of the universe that we've explored all throughout TMCU, the Negative Zone, another section of the universe, the Dark Dimension, the Quantum Realm, the Mirror Zone, the Mirror Dimension, and the Ancestral Plane, which, of course, is the Afterlife. And meanwhile, on Earth, the Black Knight reunites with the Eternals, while Kamala Khan is reunited with Carol, Monica, and the main Avengers team, as we are also introduced to Wyatt Wingfoot, a Native American living in Oklahoma, and a former friend of Johnny Storm, as the latter helps the large group of allies unite on Earth before Uatu and the Infinity Watch, along with the Silver Surfer, leave Earth to confront the Celestials and prevent them from going to war with Galactus. While Adam Warlock is confronted by his alternate future self, Magus, the group in the Negative Zone run into Norman Osborn, who is banished there by Arishem the Judge after the events of the Illuminati, but as Black Bull is about to kill Norman, Reed convinces them not to, as they realize that they need him for info in order to defeat Annihilation, and get out of the Negative Zone ASAP. Team Earth consists of all the good guys on Earth except for Infinity Watch and everyone else currently in the Negative Zone. Learn from the Eternals that Arishem the Judge is going to destroy Earth by absorbing it into the Infinity Stones, and Galactus also wants to as well, although in a major plot twist, it is revealed that Thanos wasn't just trying to impress Lady Death, but he wanted to wipe out half the universe's population to prevent the Celestials from causing even more harm to the universe, and also Arishem and the Celestials lied about their importance to the universe and that it is only Galactus who can survive, since he got all of his energy taken away. Now Blastar, who is Annihilation's right-hand man and bodyguard, confronts Norman and Team Zone in a major conflict, although Quasar arrives and tries to evacuate everyone with help from Uatu, Silver Surfer, and Infinity Watch, which leads to Blastar turning on Annihilus. In the big final battle, the good guys, including Blastar, join forces against the Celestials as Adam Warlock uses the stones and sacrifices himself to defeat Magus with help from Fire Lord and Airwalker, while Fury is accidentally left behind in the Negative Zone after his explosion caused by Arishem and the Celestials, which kills him, Norman Osborn, and Annihilus. Now the Eternals convince Galactus to become good as he kills Arishem and becomes Lifebringer Galactus. In the end, everyone celebrates their victory since Earth has now been saved, as Blastar becomes the new ruler of the Negative Zone, while Infinity Watch is disbanded, and Uatu promises to protect the universe with Galactus, who now has the ultimate nullifier, power, cosmic, and Infinity Stones in his possession, as Uatu promises to protect the universe with Lifebringer Galactus by his side. Now anyway guys, this is the full cast right here, as we can see. So yeah, there is the full cast. It's basically the same as Avengers Behold Galactus, so yeah. Now anyway guys, this is the list of side characters here, where we got the Punisher, Daredevil, all those characters, and also we got the villains list right here, so yeah. Now in the mid-credits, we then cut to Earth, where the leader learns about everything that's been happening recently, in Phase 6 of TMCU, as he steals products that belongs to Weapon X, as he plans on using it for unknown reasons. So in the post-credits scene, Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk, obviously that's her name, breaks the fourth wall as she confirms that both Wolverine and Deadpool are coming to TMCU very soon. So this is the full list of every character who dies, as Nick Fury Jr., Norman Osborn, Annihilus, Adam Warlock, Magus, Firelord, Airwalker, and Arishem all die in this film, sadly. Now anyway guys, that is it for Phase 6 of TMCU. I hope you guys really enjoyed, and also another quick announcement, Phase 7 is coming on June 15th, coming out Saturday, June 15th at 12 p.m. I will try to record it ASAP, so anyway guys, peace out, and I hope you guys enjoyed Phase 6. And by the way, I really apologize for all this blurriness, but you guys can go on my Discord server and just, look at the full project, so peace out.